Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I have some more Battlefield 3 gameplay for you guys, and I wanted to take the time to go over the recent patch notes that were made available to the public. I'm not going to go through the entire thing because that would take forever. It's a huge patch, and if you want to check it out yourself, I will leave a link in the description so you can do that. Today I just wanted to go over some of the highlights and some of the stuff that I found to be really important. And the first thing that I found to be relevant was that their players are no longer going to take fall damage from shortfalls. I know that this is a very frustrating part of Battlefield 3. This bug has been known for a very long time, and the fact that they are addressing it now is kind of disappointing. It should have been addressed months ago, but they're finally apparently fixing it. And if you've ever gone into a gunfight or tried to run away from a gunfight, this bug has probably gotten you killed on numerous occasions, so I'm glad that they are fixing it. Another thing that they're doing is that they are reducing the black screen fade-in time on spawn. I know this was something that I thought was just a bug when they implemented in the beta. I thought it really wouldn't have been in the game, but apparently it's a fade-in that is needed for your computer to load in the content around you. But apparently they have significantly reduced the time where that needs to be up. I think this is great because I know there's a lot of times when I'm spawning on my allies, I know that if I didn't have that black screen on my screen, I wouldn't have gotten killed immediately after I spawned in, so I'm glad to see that they are substantially reducing that time period. I think that's great. Something else that I think is noteworthy is that they are increasing the effectiveness of explosive resistance, and this is a specialization that a lot of people use to avoid getting killed by claymores or players who are using the frag rounds on the USAS. So I'm glad to see that they are making it a little bit more effective because it really didn't do much than save you from one claymore, which is nice, but it really didn't do more than that. And to have a little bit more protection from frag round USASs or just really any explosions in general is a nice change in my opinion. Another specialization that they are tuning a little bit is the suppression resist specialization. I think this is a great change because right now the perk really doesn't seem to do a whole lot, and I know a lot of players just don't like getting suppressed in general. Having your screen turn all fuzzy because bullets are zipping by you can be a little frustrating to even identify where the target is, so to have a specialization that helps out just a little bit more I think is going to be great. Another fix that I'm finally glad to see in the game is that when you're trying to lock onto two nearby targets, you're no longer going to jump between them so rapidly. And I know this is frustrating when you're in the attack helicopter and you're trying to lock onto a jet or another helicopter and there's a nearby vehicle. It will just jump back and forth and you can never lock on, and it will get you killed because you can't get that rocket off. So I'm glad to see that they are changing that. I personally thought this was fixed months ago. I never actually tested it because I haven't been flying in the helicopters recently, but these patch notes were released months ago, and I thought this aspect of it, or not all of these patch notes, but this one in particular, and apparently they just pushed it back until now. So kind of disappointing, but I'm glad that they're finally doing something about it. So apparently flares are no longer going to break the lock on a vehicle when you deploy them. It's only going to distract the missiles. So right now, if you're in dogfight with two helicopters and you shoot your anti-air missiles at them and the enemy deploys their flares, you no longer have the lock on them. You have to try to relock onto them, and it takes a while. So apparently from what these patch notes indicate, that's no longer going to be the case. So when you fire one rocket, they deploy their flares. The flares are deployed. You can fire, I'm assuming, another one pretty quickly right after that and get the hit on the helicopter because you no longer break. You no longer have to wait a couple of seconds for you to relock on. I'm not really sure how I like this change. It's going to be interesting to see how dogfights change when the patch is released. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Something I found to be really interesting is that they are changing the way that Stinger missiles work entirely. So right now, Stinger missiles feel useless, and in the patch they're changing it so that when you try to lock onto an air vehicle, it's going to lock on a lot quicker, and it's going to disable the vehicle in one hit, which is a huge change. They are significantly increasing the damage of the Stingers. But what they're changing is they're reducing the range of these Stinger missiles, so it's not going to have as an effective a range, which is interesting. So what they're thinking behind it is that the Stinger missiles should allow you to take out a close range target, but you're not going to be able to dominate an entire airspace. So it's going to be interesting to see how this change affects battles, but I think it's going to be a good change because if you're in an attack helicopter and you are near a location and two people are locked onto you, they're going to be able to take you out a lot faster this way. but they're not going to be able to take you out if they're across the map. So I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I think it's going to be a good change, because any change right now is going to be a good one, because Stinger missiles really do feel useless. The only way that a Stinger missile is effective is to make the jet or the helicopter deploy their flares or their ECM to allow for the your jets to try to take them out. And I think that's kind of silly, and to allow them to have a little bit more effectiveness, at least in close quarter, not really close quarter engagements, but in some engagements, is going to be a plus in my opinion. They are also making some adjustments to the F-35 to make the hover ability only deployable in low altitude conditions. I'm assuming the reasoning behind this is to give it a little bit more maneuverability when they're in dogfights, because right now the F-35 gets completely destroyed by the flanker. If two pilots are equally skilled, the flanker is going to usually win those gunfights because they have more flanking abilities, or they have more maneuverability, which is huge in a jet fight. And so I'm glad to see this change. The flanker, or not the flanker, but the F-35, that little hover ability is cool, but I don't think it warrants them getting destroyed by the flanker all the time. They also had a lot of weapon changes. I'm not going to go through all of them, but some that I think is noteworthy is that they are going to increase the minimum damage of pretty much all of the assault rifles, so now they do a little bit more damage at long range. And I'm assuming the reason behind this is just to make them more effective and just more reliable at long-range combat. I don't think it's really going to change the game that much. It already takes a significant amount of time to take someone out at long range. It's just going to take a little bit less time. They're also increasing the damage of some of the MLGs. I don't also think this is going to be game-breaking. I think it's just going to make some of the MLGs a little bit more effective. A lot of players don't even use the support kit that often, and I think it's just going to put it more in line and with the other kits right now. They also made a lot of changes to the weapon accessories. Their thought process behind it was that too many people are using the foregrip and the suppressor, and really no one's using anything else. So what they wanted to do was buff some of the accessories and also nerf some of them to put them all more in line and more equal and beneficial when you use them. So one of the main changes is that they made a lot of tweaks to the bipod. And so the first thing is that they increased the accuracy and the recoil reduction when you're using the bipod with both the assault rifles and the carbines, because they want more people to use it with these weapons. They also decreased the amount of time it takes for you to deploy the weapon or deploy the bipod by 40 to 50% depending on some of the weapons, and this is a significant increase. I know one of the main reasons why I don't even use the bipod was because I felt like every time I tried to deploy it, it got me killed because the enemy rounded the corner and blew me away because I was fiddling with the animation. So I'm glad to see that has changed, and they've also made it easier to deploy the bipod on more surfaces, which is also really nice because that's another thing. I always felt like I was just trying to find a surface where I could place it down. So hopefully these changes will make the bipod more viable, and maybe even I will try it out more often, even with the assault rifles and the carbines, and use it in more situations. So I'm glad to see that change. They've also done some extensive work to the heavy barrel. They are going to reduce the vertical recoil penalty when you use this attachment. There's also going to be a small hip fire accuracy penalty when you use the heavy barrel because it's going to add some weight at the end of the gun, and apparently that's going to just apparently that reduces the accuracy of it when you are firing from the hip. But that's okay because what they are trying to do with the heavy barrel is to make it a more mid to long range attachment. So you're going to be more effective in those situations, and if you are in close quarter engagements and you're firing from the hip, you are not going to have those benefits. So what they wanted to do was to increase the aimed accuracy bonus when you use the heavy barrel with burst fire at long and mid-range combat, and that's what they wanted to originally have this attachment do. They're also making some changes to the foregrip, and essentially they're just nerfing it to put it more in line with the bipod, because right now the foregrip is the superior attachment for this slot. So what they're doing is it's still going to have that horizontal recoil reduction, so nothing's really changing there. They are tweaking it for each weapon, but it's still going to reduce the recoil for the horizontal recoil. They are giving them a small long-range accuracy penalty, though, so if you do use this weapon for long-range, or if you do use this attachment for long-range engagements, you are going to notice a small penalty in your accuracy. But they have said that if you use this in close-quarter combat, you're really not going to notice a difference for this attachment. So I'm glad that they are nerfing it and putting it more in line with the bipod, because it really did need to have some changes. The suppressor has also seen some changes. It is no longer going to reduce the maximum damage of a weapon. Instead, it's going to reduce the minimum and maximum range of a gun to get its full potential. So you're basically going to have to be a little bit closer to a target to get the full benefit or the full damage out of the gun. They're also going to reduce the benefit of its recoil reduction by 10%, so it's not going to be as effective to reducing your recoil, which is okay because it looks like they want the flash suppressor, which no one ever uses, to be the champion of reducing vertical recoil. They are also reducing the hipfire accuracy for pretty much all of the weapons with the suppressor, so it's just like the heavy barrel. When you use this attachment, it's going to make the end of your gun a little bit heavier, and that's going to reduce the accuracy of the gun when you fire it from the hip. They're also making a huge change to the flash suppressor to buff it significantly. You no longer get a reduction in accuracy when you are going full auto with a weapon. It's also going to significantly reduce your vertical recoil, and this is going to be the king for reducing vertical recoil. And I think that's great because right now no one uses it, and it's very disappointing. Along with both the sort of silencer and also the heavy barrel, when you fire from the hip with the flash suppressor on, it's going to reduce your accuracy a little bit, but that's okay because I think that this is going to be a huge buff, and it's going to make put it more in line with the other attachments. So that's all I'm going to go over today. Like I said, it was a gigantic patch, so I'm going to leave a link in the description so you guys can go through it yourself. But if you guys enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up, and also if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more videos. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.